You're listening to the Shake and Wake Radio Network, where the truth is all that matters, and the truth will make you free. Will make you free. Will make you free. ShakeandWakeRadio.com. ShakeandWakeRadio.com. Shake and Wake Radio. We're on a mission from God. You're listening to the Shake and Wake Radio Network, where the truth is all that matters, and the truth will make you free. Will make you free. Will make you free. Will make you free.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
We're on a mission from God. Man, you gotta understand that this is a lot bigger than any domestic problems you might be experiencing.
Ma'am, would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.
You're listening to the Shake and Wake Radio Network, where the truth is all that matters, and the truth will make you free. Will make you free. Will make you free. Will make you free. ShakeandWakeRadio.com. We're on a mission from God.
All right, buckle up, everybody. Get ready. Keep your hands and feet inside the ride.
In a world gone mad, where the schoolhouse, the television, and the church have become the mouthpiece of Satan, where Orwellian catchphrases like war is peace and slavery is freedom become more relevant by the day, where everyone sells out a little bit more each day, and the open-air prison in which we live in is completed. Some people are searching for answers. Some are tired of being lied to, but who can they trust? Join me, Seth Davis, for Two Real News on Shake and Wake Radio, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, for the latest headlines, reports, and analysis from around the world. And remember, it's a jungle out there. So join me, Seth Davis, for Two Real News on ShakeandWakeRadio.com, where the truth is all that matters, and the truth will make you free.
And now, Two Real News with your host, Seth Davis, and his guest host, Jason Boss.
Hey, welcome there to Two Real News. Thank you for joining us. It is 11:03 a.m. Pacific time here. I'm assuming 2:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time there. Going into the markets here to start it off. Gold is up to $1,201. Silver is up to $1,683. Platinum is up to 1,157. The Dow fell 94 points today. NASDAQ is down 40 points. S&P 500 down about 11.5 points. Continuing on, gas up a little. And in economics news, U.S. manufacturing slows as orders and hiring weakens. How you doing there, Jason?
Good, man. How you doing?
Oh, all right. Just a lot of news to cover today. A lot of ridiculous stuff. Just to go back to something we talked about the other day there, of that charming individual, the Grand Mufti in Saudi Arabia there, the head of Sharia law there. Nice guy. He's actually been saying that stuff about destroying Christian churches for years now. When I was looking at that, he's been saying that since something like 2008, 2009, something like that, 2010.
Right.
Yeah, so he's been saying this for a while. So the idea that people are getting here of how did I put this? That we have a nation
that wants, media-wise, that wants us to freak out and be absolutely horrified about so-called discrimination against gays in Indiana or in Arkansas there potentially, and yet the United States' greatest ally in the Middle East, with the exception of maybe Turkey or Israel, is Saudi Arabia, who beheads homosexuals. And we're going to play semantics here over the way a certain law is worded here in the United States, when it really shows that even the so-called liberal media out there that panders to the LGBTQ whatever community there really could give a damn about them.
Oh yeah, and you know they're spinning the things that we don't even need to worry about. They're spinning stuff that is trite, and it doesn't mean anything to us. While the biggest issues are the ones that are
completely ignored.
Stuff that exactly.
Let's see, we've got news here, kind of interesting in that same vein there. Grandson of oil tycoon J. Paul Getty found dead. The reports on this have been really conflicting. I mean, according to stuff out of Zero Hedge and other alternative media outlets, it says, quote, the cause of death was traumatic rectal injury. But most of the other media has since claimed that it's just a natural occurrences or accident or something like that. Which I thought was kind of interesting how vague it was.
You notice how vague they are about the time that everybody gets sacrificed. Same thing happened with Travolta, his son, when they
actually
they
they're telling. In my
Rick.
opinion, they're telling you what happened. In a
yeah,
way.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
put it this way.
notice-
Watch this. Do you remember when Robin Williams, when they made an official press conference, they brought in a coroner or forensic investigator who had to mention, he didn't just mention that he was hanging on the door. He said he was hanging on a door, rigor mortis has set in, and he was in a seated position.
Yeah,
So
that
what-
doesn't even...
That doesn't make sense, because we all know when you die, your muscles let go. And you,
Yeah.
Right.
okay, so your
technically,
bowels.
Same,
All right, so
same with
if you
Brittany
are...
Murphy.
Right, so if you were trying to hang yourself on a door, right, when at the moment of death your body would go limp, you'd be hanging straight. So what they were telling you, okay, they didn't just say hang in, he was hanging from a door or whatever.
Yeah.
They said in a seated position. So
it's like
what I take
telling
they
you
did,
that-
right, a couple goons went in there, put him in a chair, probably wired his wrists to the chair, like in this armchair, computer chair with arms, to the chair so he couldn't move his arms, and they strangled him with that belt or something.
Yeah. Well,
And then they went, they went out to
to
dinner, or went and made something to eat, or went and had a couple beers, watched TV, whatever. And I don't think the Illuminati hitmen watch TV, but they probably
Whatever it
waited.
is they do.
Right.
Yeah.
In other words, they killed him in a chair, left him in that chair, okay, and then went
And then
back
after
to
the rigor mortis has already started to set in, they
right. They went over there and picked him up and put him on that door, and the marks on his wrist were probably from struggling when they were strangling him, possibly.
Yeah. Well, allegedly, David Carradine there is a great example of somebody that you can get set up pretty easily, because supposedly he was breaking up human trafficking rings there and everything, trying to expose that, and they set him up there as they kill him and then put him in the whatever autoerotic asphyxiation position there, because they know most people aren't actually going to look into
They'll
it. They'll
think you sick son of a bitch, you deserve to die.
Exactly.
Let me get this straight.
Cases,
you like to
kill
hang from a belt around your neck while you masturbate.
Well, it's the ultimate way to
They did
limit
the
everybody.
same-
It's like them killing you and then putting child porn on your computer or something,
Yeah,
and being like,
right.
"Oh, so he's a pervert."
Exactly. Same thing with the lead singer of In Excess, and then they killed his wife a couple weeks later for coming out saying Bob Geldof was involved, and then they
of
killed
course-
their daughter.
Yeah, Peaches Geldof.
They killed her. I mean, Peaches Geldof got killed. I mean, this stuff happens all the time. It's seldom a suicide or a murder.
Well, and speaking of lead singers, they're being demonized and everything. Look at Scott Stapp from Creed.
Oh, he
Scott Stapp from
disappeared.
Creed,
He's gone.
He was just,
They can't
I went
find
crazy and then just gone, and he's disappeared there and everything, and his wife
Well, he didn't
appears
sound
none
crazy.
Oh, no, I didn't think he did either, but of course
His wife's a supermodel who's probably a mind-controlled sex slave herself.
Yeah, and at very least, somebody that's trying to manipulate the situation to pretty much just take whatever money that he's got, and she's probably the one that's been robbing him the entire time that he was complaining about.
Right.
Because his money's like, my money's just disappearing. I don't know where it's going and stuff like that.
Well, no,
literally
I'm sure he was starting to talk to certain people about coming out. You know, because you don't make it.
No.
And when he did that, because you know what? Why would he have to beg for help from his fans? We're talking one of the most popular lead singers in the world. Doesn't he have friends? Yeah. Well, how come Axl Rose won't loan him a couple grand? Can he go stay with
any of these guys, even the other guys in Creed?
Because they all made deals with the devil, and the call went out that we have a problem here. One of ours is about to expose us all. So he had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So he comes forward and he says, I know what they're going to do to me. I haven't been drinking. I'm of a sound mind. And he's addressing his children and his wife, and he's going to go after these people who run banking in Hollywood and music. And I know they're probably going to do something to me. And then the next video released, he goes down to the, not far where I used to live in Fort Lauderdale, the Boca Raton Police Department, which Boca Raton is all upscale elitists who live in Boca. That is like Newport, Rhode Island in a way, you know what I mean? Mansions and stuff. He goes and he files the report, and then a couple weeks later when the police were going to set it up for a court docket, they tried to notify him because he filed a literal robbery theft charge against them because they froze his bank accounts and all types of stuff. They left him penniless, and the last we've heard is that the Boca Raton Police Department has dropped all charges against the people he's accusing because Mr. Stapp cannot be located. So, they sacrificed him somewhere, or he's in a mental institution being reprogrammed under an assumed name. They snatched him.
Yeah. Well, and for however long that they can with the royalties on anything he's got there or whatever, they can, like a big parasite, just suck off
and
of
he was
riding money he's got.
Yeah. He was homeless, and he was riding a bicycle. So I can imagine a van probably just come up behind him and nudged him off the road. A couple guys jumped out, grabbed him.
Yeah, well, think about that for a second of not playing ball with the system there, of how quickly they turn on you. Literally, you being one of the richest.
We're talking about a guy who used to.
There, you could imagine.
He used to cruise on Learjets with Bon Jovi and stuff. This is
a guy that's probably
Creed,
like the president and stuff like that.
Yeah, Creed was one of the biggest bands in the world, up there with Pearl Jam and Nirvana, and look at him too. Yeah.
Michael
Kurt
Jackson.
Cobain.
I mean, look at it. He came out. He was coming out with it. He fought Sony. All of a sudden, he has a drug overdose.
Yeah. And he's writing songs like They Don't Really Care About Us, and having his dancers dressed up in battle gear, goose stepping it. Whoa. Yeah. What was he going to tell us? The name of his tour, you ready? This Is It.
Yep.
This is the battle between the Antichrist beast system and the children of God. We're going to be facing super soldiers, demonically possessed, chipped soldiers.
I mean, we're already facing
on
demonically
meth
possessed
that have been up for days on meth.
I was going to say, technically, we've already been facing the light version, or LITE light version of that, like Miller Light versus Miller full blend there, or whatever you want to say.
Did you guys see the rehearsal video footage of Michael Jackson, some of it? They had a big screen, and they superimposed thousands of body armor wearing with face shields, and like thousands of these soldiers on this big screen behind them. And way in the back is two pillars.
Oh, yeah.
With light, with like sunlight shining through. It's the total symbolism of the sun god and the... I mean, there is no way in hell that we are not in end times. This is it.
Yeah, well, to back up what Jason was saying there, we're already facing at least a version of that. The fact is the police are essentially trained right now of getting as low an IQ people as they possibly can that can still be able to fire a weapon and go around and everything. They literally choose aggressive personalities, aggressive traits that they can attempt to exploit, people that have broken backgrounds, broken family connections, and then pump them full of steroids and amphetamines. It's what they do, period. And they train them to instinctively shoot people and attack people.
When they give soldiers tons of shots.
Yeah,
now,
and part of that is to damage their brains associated with higher thought.
But how many, besides the illnesses it can cause or making you violent, how does any soldier know? How does any soldier know that he hasn't been chipped?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, because now they're making them small enough they can be injected or popped in with a vaccine gun. Pop,
yeah.
there you go, you're chipped.
The guys there and gals, I mean, you can talk from Navy to Air Force to Army. I mean, all of them will tell you that they've been injected so many times, even the most basic of stuff, people that don't even leave the U.S., they get injected with so much stuff.
In the Manchurian Candidate, the second one, the
Denzel
most
Washington.
recent one, yeah. He's feeling something in his back or whatever, or neck, and he digs it out of himself, you know?
Yeah. When in reality, I don't think it's going to quite be that simple there. If they're injecting something into your bloodstream.
It'll be so small. Yeah. Wow. I mean, anybody comes up with an inoculation gun or needles, if you're armed, you might as well just shoot at that point, because whatever they're going to stick in you, it can't be good. It's not,
at the bare minimum, it's not good.
Right, you might as well just go home, you know?
Yep. Well, with any of that stuff, that's why people have reached a point in many of these third world countries that they're actually fighting back against the UN peacekeepers and everything like that. And I use the term peacekeepers very, very loosely. But those guys there that
the hounds of hell is what they are.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's what I once saw. What was it? UN. It was instead of like global peace, it was like it was like global stability. It was like global instability or whatever. Their instability instead. They have a UN helmet right next to it, and it's just it works so perfectly because those guys are literally if government is bad, big government
soldiers
is worse. Then biggest government is the ultimate worst.
Yeah, I wonder if besides the satanic, our military, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino took over for Anton LaVey and changed the name from the Church of Satan to the Temple of Set. And we've heard a lot of Russ Dizdar and other people talk about Michael Aquino. So you got to assume that the majority of people in the top level offices, attorney generals, Justice Department, military,
look at the Freemasons,
right, are literally satanic. All the emblems on military uniforms all go back to the Nazi type wings. Yeah. Those wing type.
The Ohio. There's a certain, I don't remember if it's a Department of Homeland Security or a certain National Guard unit that they've sent out there or whatever of their domestic force. And when you look at these people's thing, it's got like the goat head and a biohazard symbol and all this stuff. And I'm like, good luck with that, guys. Good luck with that.
And V's. And wing things, like Nazi wing things.
Yeah, and then literally skulls and all this devil crap everywhere.
Right,
they're like, I don't get how you get the idea that we're evil. It's like Chris Kyle walking around with the craft symbol, the skull, Punisher, death. I mean, these guys try and get off on the Robert Oppenheimer quote of, I am Shiva, the destroyer of worlds, or whatever. I am death. I mean, how ridiculous much of a power trip are these people on?
If it goes into a war situation, people are going to be seeing something like that never occurred ever. And if you are going to engage, you better hit and run, because if they take you alive, you are in for a slow death.
Black box in Chicago.
They better. No, I mean, you'll be begging them to kill you. Please just kill me.
Well, most of the stuff we are talking right now, the United States, just the stuff that we're engaged
in. So
you need
to not engage. There's two ways of dealing it. If there's a couple hundred if there's thousands of UN troops in a convoy going up your street, it probably wouldn't be a good idea to go out there and shoot at them with your AR or shotgun or whatever. You probably want to lay low. If you are going to engage, you need to do it with several people. You need to have a plan, and you need to have a hit and run, right? A hit and run guerrilla warfare type situation. I mean, the improvised weapons that they use.
Aren't trained for anything like that.
They're not. So a lot of people
stepping up.
Right, a lot of people are going to be horrified when foreign soldiers kick their door in and rape them and shoot
especially
their loved ones. Because that's what they're going to do.
Towards rural communities, you're going to actually see they
can commandeer your house, your wife, your kids, your car, anything.
Right.
Under martial law, the military can take anything. So, I mean, the point being, wherever you happen to live, and if you're in a city, oh man, forget it. But wherever you're out in the country, if you can avoid them, you hear a helicopter, get underneath a rock or something heavy duty. Don't be running around. Don't be seen carrying a weapon. You hear a helicopter coming, it wouldn't be a good idea to be walking down the road with a gun strapped to your back. You might want to put the gun down somewhere and find a place to hide.
Drones. There's something to remember there. The UN, regardless of what state you're in there, whatever, when you're playing with your state officials or your
they're going to be picking off everybody.
Yep, exactly.
From what I understand,
all guns are banned via the UN.
Here's what they're going to... Do you remember a few years ago there was reports about people working with the United Nations and private contractors will have a device on their uniform that has a beacon sending thing, so that helicopters or drones will identify them as a friendly. Oh, he's one of us.
Yep, meaning that everyone else that's not one of them,
will be shot down by...
Exactly.
Or bombed or shot.
It's going to be considered collateral damage.
A threat.
Important enough to stop it from killing
right. So you got right.
Else.
So if you got drones or say, I believe that we have UFO technology, probably even small ones too.
Well, Rick, right now we're sending the NASA's sending a pretty much a flying saucer to Mars right now. That's literally a project that they're working on. That's been announced from everybody from Russia Today to Associated
Well, we're 50
Press.
or 100 years behind, and they back-engineered Roswell stuff. And some of this stuff is just not just the mechanical ideas of it, but some of this stuff is truly demonic entity type things. I don't know about
right now, just from our drone policy of we're already killing quite a few people of quote innocents as a collateral damage there of people that have never been tried in any court whatsoever. The United States government just says they're a terrorist and blows them up all over the rest of the world, and it's something definitely worth thinking about. The fact is, we're already as a government torturing just about anybody.
Right, they got the people to go along with it because of 9/11 and fear of terrorism, but now it's going to be brought home and used on us.
Yep.
The same thing with torture is okay. Oh, it's okay to torture someone or their kids.
I think it
right,
literally is
but what people don't realize is they're going to be torturing you and your children now. And they're going to be accusing you of something to where you can't give any information. You're not a terrorist, but anybody who's a dissident who disagrees, like with Hitler, he killed everyone who disagreed with him. And that's what they're going to do to us.
Well,
yeah, well, I mean, look at even if you play with this system, for a lot of people that think that they're big men on totem pole there, that they want to be up with the big dogs there and all this, they're going to rip you to pieces the same way they did Muammar Gaddafi. They're going to rip you to pieces the same way they did Saddam Hussein.
Right.
They're going to rip you to pieces the same way they've done
anybody going
everybody.
along with the New World Order, once you've outlived your usefulness, they're going to get rid of you because you killed your own kind.
Yeah,
so you're
and you know too much too. Just as far as information there, they like dead men tell
so
no
let's
tales.
let's say Yeshua doesn't return right away, and they do eliminate 80% of us. And then, what do you think they're going to do next if Jesus didn't come back and fervently burn this place yet? then, they're going to put some real badass gas in these chemtrail planes and kill all the UN and soldiers on the face of the planet.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what the
Thank
the whole
you.
thing
You killed
of
all the people. Hope you had
cybernetics
fun
of the,
raping them. You're
well, the whole
dead
thing of
now.
what transhumanism is all about is being able
You
to
think
create
they're going to let them
artificial stuff
guys
that would allow-
live?
Yeah, that would
They're not
allow
gonna-
that would allow the people that are doing all this stuff with the robotics and everything to be able to survive longer than their counterparts that aren't going to be given the life extension technologies and all this stuff. And of course, all of them are deceived at their own individual levels there. But the higher you get, the more exclusive it becomes. That's where the life extending technologies is going. I mean, most people would be like, "Oh, it's being used to keep somebody like Dick Cheney alive." And as much as I dislike that guy, he's not at the very top of the power structure. And it'd be
I
naive
don't
to
buy
think
that.
so.
Have you seen George Sr. lately? I don't think they really have, I mean,
Yeah.
Kissinger looks good for his age.
Yeah, well, they all
What a
look like,
scumbag.
most of these guys look like
But
it's like
W
Ann
is
Dowell,
in
the
bad
evil
shape.
exudes from them. It's
I mean,
literally,
not
it exudes
W.
from them. It's like it
Walker,
rots through them
Herbert
like
Walker Bush.
Yeah, but it rots them, literally. It's the evil exudes. I know that they say you can't judge a book by its cover, but in those cases, it's like you just feel it. You just feel
Well,
it.
these
exudes
guys
and you
have
can
been
see it. David
Satanists.
Rockefeller looks literally like a rat.
All their lives, how many children and sacrifices do you think they attended? Wow, man. Wow, if
Well, the
you
fact
had to
that a lot
watch
of
the
this stuff is considered,
videotapes,
normal for a lot of these guys. I mean, we have the pedophile scandals that go up to the highest levels of the British government there, including the royal family, and yet people, for some reason, are under the impression that this. It's not that widespread. It's a small thing,
Yeah,
especially
okay,
here in the
sure.
United States.
No, it
where
isn't.
in
In
Europe,
every
there was a
city
really
there's-
big deal about that from the 1970s to now. People have been freaking out about this. A lot of people have gone to prison. Some people have died over this. Look at Jimmy Savile there and all these guys. It goes way beyond that because we're talking about all the way to the Dutch politicians. There was a big deal with that. There was a big deal with in France and Italy. There was another big deal with that. And yet people, for some reason, here, because the media is so contrived and controlled, and we haven't yet been subjected to a level of heinousness that a lot of these European peoples have. We're going
I'll
to get
tell
the
you,
worst of
if
it.
one of these sacrifices, especially of a child, being raped and cut up, was ever able to be released to the public, they would flip out.
Yeah, well, we would literally see like French Revolution type stuff, like these individuals being pulled apart piece
Oh,
by
they'd
piece.
probably kill every politician and cop in America.
Well, the fact that it's just allowed. But by the way, I would add,
I don't think that's a good idea. By the way,
no,
I
agreed,
really
but,
don't. In
the-
fact,
if
Seth,
you've
have
seen
you
the
heard?
footage-
Have you heard that? You know how the Illuminati plays both sides and funds both sides, right?
Yeah, always. Of
Okay,
everything.
well, this host that I'm going to get for the network, the one who did the Confessions of a Satanist thing that we played, the one who sounds like Jack Black, his voice, but he's not a Satanist, he's a Christian. And he's reading all these testimonies of Satanists that have come out of it and what they do and how they abduct people and some of the things he witnessed. And what he said is that the government, although they're behind the satanic rituals and pedophilia, they also have created organizations to see if they can be infiltrated.
Yeah.
In other words, they have a task force to go after pedophilia and satanic stuff. And the guys who work in this field are good guys who are trying to infiltrate like the mob, but this is the pedophilia satanic sacrifice mob.
Occult crimes division.
And to infiltrate them, you have to watch videos and do things or participate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which unfortunately in a lot of cases could make you.
And what he said was most of these guys that end up on a squad like that trying to infiltrate the Satanism and pedophile stuff, from trying to pretend to be one of them watching these videos or attending a ritual, because they want to keep you in as long as possible to get as many names as you can, like Donnie Brasco or something in the mafia, right? Okay, well, most of these guys kill themselves.
Yeah, which I could imagine.
In other words, because
why, I mean, that's dark, but I can imagine why that'd be pretty rough to have to go through.
They kill themselves.
That's how evil it is.
That's how evil they are.
Yeah, it's why they go for mind control techniques within.
Right, if you're a normal Christian with empathy, you couldn't even handle watching a sacrifice. If they put a chain around your neck and you were in a cave watching what they do to somebody, and they gave you a pistol with one bullet in it, before they were done, you'd probably put it in your mouth and kill yourself. Because they're probably going to do it to you next, too.
Well,
right?
I would add that something that people had out, a story that had been floating through the alternative media there was the bloodstains on top of the Georgia Guidestones there. Well, I don't doubt that there's there are Luciferian rituals with some of this stuff. Particularly that video, when I saw it, was kind of ridiculous.
The upper floor of every...
blood was like purple on there, and I'm like, that blood dries brown. I'm not.
According...
I don't know.
According to some of the people that we listen to, the top floor of every Masonic hall has a place reserved for the highest levels where they do their, what do you call it?
Sacrificing?
Well, not necessarily
no, practice
any rituals. Any of their rituals take place in the upper level.
Right.
And if you're not a 33 or higher, then you never go upstairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the people down below think it's a Christian organization.
Jason and I are out here in Washington, or in my case, in Oregon, in his case, respectively. There, we're pretty aware, man. There's quite a few open, even cults and witchcraft, like covens and everything like that out here. That it's the brazenness of these people is outrageous, and unfortunately, a lot of the so-called Christian community out here just tolerates it.
Well, they control law enforcement. Anything they do, if they get caught snatching somebody or doing a ritual murder of somebody, whoever's reporting it is going to be the one who's going to end up having a problem, not the people involved at that sacrifice, because law enforcement in this country is controlled by the CIA.
Exactly.
The CIA can walk into any local jurisdiction and say, "Sheriff, are you holding a Seth Davis and Jason Boss?" And they would say, "Yeah, we arrested him last night. We had word they were leaving a place where there was a ritual going on, and when we got there, it was over. But we pulled this car over, and they had the remains of a child in their trunk and chains and all types of stuff, and we've got a ton of evidence on these guys, right?" And the CIA can just say, "Well, this is a matter of national security. You're going to turn Seth Davis and Jason Boss over to us. All the paperwork, and this never happened."
Yeah, and of course...
And then threaten the police that if you talk about this, you or your wives or children might have a problem, you know?
Well, to back you up with actual, some documented stuff that people can go look up for themselves, COINTELPRO, the FBI did just that to from everything from civil rights leaders to black nationalist movements, Puerto Rican nationalist movements, Irish United Ireland movements, the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Brotherhood.
Look what they did to that black cop, the black cop in Oklahoma who was one of the first responders. Oh, yeah, he was found in a ditch with his throat cut and wounds all over his body that he did to himself, and then he shot himself in the head. Suicide, huh?
Yeah, it's about as believable as the suicide on Gary Webb, the guy that reported the CIA cocaine smuggling operations. There are the CIA connections with the Crips and the Bloods in San Francisco Bay Area and around the rest of the United States, using them to distribute cocaine for their connections in Nicaraguan guerrillas or Nicaraguan counter-revolutionaries that they had there, or revolutionaries, to fund their nice CIA pet projects. And I mean, the Gary Webb was allegedly found suicided with 2 bullet wounds in his head. He shot himself twice in the head. Yeah. Oh.
At least he was dedicated, right?
Yeah, exactly. So well, it's like people shooting themselves in the back of the head with a shotgun, and he killed him. It's suicide. Yeah.
And one of the biggest problems I see here is that there's nobody that's accountable. If you Google search for images, Freemason sheriff's patches, you'll find out that most of the law enforcement across the U.S. has some affiliation with the Masons.
Yep.
Now, that's a really bad thing for us, unfortunately, because I was talking to a buddy of mine who was a 23-degree Mason before he broke away and went his way. But he said there's certain signs that they can do anytime there's in a courtroom or anytime that there's more Masons around. It goes from the crazy handshakes they do to however the little symbols are that.
Little random sayings that they can say of just like, what about a square deal, or can you keep it on the level, or some goofy crap like that. Like, I've been back from east to west and west to east again.
What's that other one about? Yeah.
What's that, Rick?
No, there was another one too. Something about a widower's son or something.
Oh yeah, Lord have mercy on a widow's son.
That's the way. And if the person responds, the scary part about Freemasonry is these people are obligated to jump in and serve their brother Masons, right, wrong, or indifferent.
World War I and World War II, there are some really crazy events.
So it's like
literally
this.
like Nazis and vice versa, or the Austro-Hungarian forces and the Allied or Western powers in the First World War. They're not killing each other. Certain individuals that happen to be Masons, not.
It's worse than the Outlaws or the Hell's Angels. It works like this. I got a problem with somebody in New York. I call one of my outlaw buddies or Harley Davidson people, and if they're willing, they'll take care of that problem for me. With the Freemasons, if one of them says, "Hey, we got a problem. This person is giving out this information and that information," well, then, somebody from another part of the country can just contact a Mason organization near me and send somebody over.
Especially if they start giving you the signs of a higher-ranking Freemason than you.
That's what I'm saying. In other words, you got a problem with one of us, you got a problem with all of us.
Yeah,
I think we need to be on the same level.
Even worse. The UK, there are so many Masons within the sheriff's department, judges, county clerks, everything you can think of.
Oh yeah, you're gonna walk. If you're a high level Mason going into a courtroom, you don't have to worry that you're gonna end up doing time in prison.
Yeah, because the chances that the judge you're going to have and a lot of people that are in the courtroom there,
they'll switch
not going to be Masons is really tiny.
Right,
yeah, exactly.
Judge Johnson was sick today, so we're going to bring in Judge Albertson, who's a high-level ranking Freemason.
Yeah. Well, and some
he's
of the
going to throw the case out.
Some of the greatest enemies of Freemasonry and exposing Freemasonry have been people that have been mistaken for Masons. That the Mason will come up and start doing all these signs and stuff to them, and they don't quite get it, and then they'll just eventually ask them, "Are you a Freemason?" And just, no, and then they realize, "Oh my God, this guy was trying to get me to lower my scruples or compromise my code of ethics there as a cop, as a judge, as a lawyer, as a doctor."
Eustace said the FBI, which harassed him all the time, right? They picked him up one day and said, "We're going to take a ride." And he says, they drove me around for half an hour, Eustace says, and they're asking me, "Does the FBI or J. Edgar Hoover owe you any money?" And he's like, "No, not that I could think of." And he goes, "Because I'm a little slow," which Eustace is a brilliant guy. He goes, he's passed on now, but he goes, "I realized they were trying to bribe me to buy me off. Yep. I could have said, yeah, they owe me $10,000 and they would have handed me $10,000, but I was like, duh, what's this all about?"
Yeah, well, you realize they've tried to do that with just about anybody there. Anybody that they can't buy out, they harass and try and destroy. A great example of that, or kill. I'm not a fan of some of the socialist logic of somebody like Ernest Hemingway, but they still, at very least, were responsible for his suicide. Because since 1940 to his death, they've been spying on him and harassing him and like having people watch him, and then he'll notice them, and then they drive off, and then he tells people about it, and then "Oh, you're just crazy, you're just paranoid." And then they lock him up and act like they're going to take all of his stuff, and it destroys his marriage, destroys his family life, destroys his friendships and all this stuff, because he's just crazy, nobody's spying on him. And then they release the files on him. Yeah,
Confessions of an Economic Hitman, we play that now and then with I forgot what the guy's name is, but he's doing a book. Was doing
Yeah,
a
I
book
know who you're
tour.
talking about. Really intelligent guy.
And he, well, except at the very end, if I play it, I'm going to have to chop it. Because at the end, he starts talking about sustainable development.
Oh.
He says it like 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
And I heard it about a week ago, and I was furious because I realized he never left. He's just, he's playing us in a new direction. If somebody is talking sustainable development. But anyways, what he says, and this is how they work everybody. Either they buy you off, or let's say you're an inventor. Hey, we'd like to buy you a new energy product or whatever. And they'll stick it on the shelf and it'll never be released to the public. Or they'll threaten you, and if the threats don't work, then they send in the jackals.
Yep. To destroy your stuff. In the case of the FBI thing, just going back to that with Cohen.
I skipped the part. They discrediting you, saying you're a pervert or something, framing you.
Well, with as much as, even Steven Anderson covered it with the Martin Lucifer King Jr. thing there. The fact of the matter is, he's taken a lot of this word from this stuff from the FBI of what they're saying that Martin Luther King Jr. was doing. And, while I wouldn't doubt it because people do like to put wicked people on pedestals and everything like that, I can't believe instantly anything the FBI is saying, because they literally had a program set up to discredit people, to destroy your relationships, to infiltrate organizations and set people up for one another, to make it seem as though somebody in one organization is sleeping with someone else's wife or whatever, and get them to kill that person or to kick them out of the club or to whatever, just destroy their marriage, destroy their friendships, their family relationships, anything they can. And then discredit them with everything from, in the case of Adlai Stevenson, J. Edgar Hoover spreading rumors to destroy him during his election that he was homosexual, when you have J. Edgar Hoover himself as one of the most rampant homosexuals of the time and a crossdresser. So, I don't know with all this stuff, guys. I've always said that there. Whenever they try and demonize somebody and they come out with a united front like that via their government entities, I always have to take that with a grain of salt, because I know that they would discredit you or I or anyone that's standing up for something real like that.
Yep, indeed. Yep, you're exactly on. The more spin they put to these people, the more you got to look into it. It's just there's something up, and they're demonizing them for a reason. So that's the cue that something's not right.
Well, and I'm not saying that Steven Anderson's totally wrong on that one. He could be right. It's just the way of jumping on the FBI of what they say about somebody is, I don't know. They've lied about so much stuff, and the fact that you're taking it from the mouth of J. Edgar Hoover, who essentially may as well be your version of the devil there. This guy is literally one of the most ridiculous characters you could think of, man, right out of a comic book, and one of the greatest hypocrites of all time.
Yep. Indeed.
It's ridiculous. And if you notice, most people that put themselves out with this religious piety type of a thing of being like that, I have the moral superiority or the moral high ground to you or whatever, and I'm going to tell you what to do. A lot of these people are just power-hungry freaks who, for the most part, have no real moral imperative and just use that as a smokescreen.
Right. And they play so many games, you just never know.
I don't softball it. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. Feels good, huh, Seth?
Yeah, no, it does. It's just being able to actually put this out there is because I'll see this even in the...
Let's go back to where I jumped in. So I was telling you about, they released the information that Robin Williams was in a seated position because I was hearing you talk. Who did they find dead? And he had what? Rectal damage? What are we talking about?
J. Paul Getty, the grandson of oil tycoon J. Paul Getty, found dead. And that's what they're changing, because in the mainstream media they're saying that it was a natural causes or an accident or something.
So you gotta wonder, why are they telling you he had
and it's only the
damage?
So-called alternative media that's putting out stuff about traumatic rectal injury or whatever. So I don't know.
Imagine what they did to him.
Yeah, or what he did to himself. There was that guy out here in Enumclaw area in Washington that got killed from doing that with like a horse or whatever. So I'm not going to pretend it's totally beyond the pale that some rich jerk
Gaddafi.
is going to be into some weird
Did you see the
animal
they
bestiality.
supposedly raped him with a knife, Gaddafi, as they killed him.
Yeah, and that's just literally what happens, what they do to you when you don't play ball anymore. And I mean, Hillary Clinton, the witch that wants to laugh about, we came, we saw, he died.
Yeah. Killers, their own murders. Many of them. Many
yeah, and it's
murders
weird because a lot of them would never have even the fortitude to do it themselves, as wicked as it still is. They're the sort of people that order somebody else to do it and then watch it and get off while watching it because they're just the weakest of people. They're the greatest of cowards to ever exist. They are Nero at the height of Rome. They are Caligula. They are Pharaoh Seti the third. They are whatever you want to say there. They're the emperor of any of a number of ancient Chinese dynasties there. Doesn't really matter. They are the great czars of Russia. They are royalty throughout all of time. They are literally the worst corruption plague on human existence. They are sin incarnate. They are what is it, as Masons or some esoteric jerks would say there.
They're the destroyers.
Yeah, well, they're the lower angels or the lesser angels of humanity.
Right.
They are wicked.
Right, you have a creator and a destroyer. And some of these people on this planet are with the destroyer, and they're destroyers.
Yeah, willingly.
Yeah, and if these guys were investing their time in all this evil they were doing to us to kill us, if they were just changing the world for the better, think of how healthy and think of how great the world would be. But it wouldn't be theirs, and that's not the plan. So,
well, it's the thing we've discussed before. It's better for them to have control than it is for them to be prosperous in a world where everyone is prosperous. They would rather be the kings of a pile of dust than to be just another man in a beautiful world.
And they get to win without ever throwing a fist. You know, that's the thing. They hide behind their little sheets of stuff feeding us plastics and aluminum. And
yeah, well, they're literally like the devil. They have no power of their own.
Chickens.
Have you guys both seen The Devil's Advocate?
Yeah, Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves.
That last 15 minutes of that movie where he walks into the office and Al Pacino as the devil's trying to get his daughter to seduce her brother, played by Keanu Reeves. Man, I wouldn't be surprised if they channeled that right from Satan's mind and mouth, totally. Because he's like, oh, better to reign and rule in hell than to reign in heaven with God. How that, you know?
To serve in heaven, yeah.
And how he says, we're going to take this over with the law, you know?
Yep.
Everything they were saying, I can see how it's coming to fruition.
Yeah, well, it's Crowleyan or LaVeyan Satanism at its highest level there, or lowest level, however you want to put it, of their idea that a servant in heaven versus a king in hell. But the reality of it is far different than one would expect. Sure, the servant in heaven part is accurate, but the king in hell, good luck with that. good luck with that.
Exactly.
Right, and they try he tries to make God seem like a tyrant, you know?
Yeah, but that's always
and
what the devil's been there, of pride of himself.
You know?
Yep.
That's the Kabbalah way.
Yeah, and it's well, I mean, that's why they try and make it seem as though God is merely the God of our little realm here, and the devil and all this is actually the God of a higher realm and all. Yeah, exactly. And it's all garbage, it's all lies, but that's so much of what when you get to it of almost like the ignorance is bliss thing, because when you get to that kind of information of what they try and teach people of being you're actually expanding your spiritual horizons or whatever. They're literally just feeding you a different lie upon a different lie upon a different lie upon a different lie, and it just compounds until you don't even know who the heck you are anymore. You don't even know what up is anymore. You don't know what reality is anymore. You've literally been so deceived that you are in the Matrix. You are in the proto-Matrix. That's what the Masonics and all that is. It's literally creating among their lower levels there a contrived mental prison or spiritual prison, emotional prison for these people, where they can never get past it. Where they have this idea that the New Age of where God or where Yeshua is.
You become possessed. You're inviting spirits into you.
Yeah, well, that's what's so important about meditation and yoga and
they call them friendly spirits.
Yeah, well, and channeling and seances, and it's all real soft. It's so nice. Just let us in. I mean, just come on, man. Just what are you so angry about? What are you so defensive for? Just let your guard down. Open yourself up. Just let go. Just ignore your conscience, that voice in your head. Just empty yourself out. And I mean, it is literally them prepping you for the ravenous wolves at the gate.
Yep. waiting for demons to enter in.
Yeah, it's like you being in the wilderness and laying down and just laying on your back, exposing your stomach as a sheep or as a prey animal there, to have your intestines ripped out by the dogs of war. I mean, I hate to get off on a tangent there and everything.
I love
know this
what
is a
you
news
just
show,
said.
but
You are right up the alley of our mindset here at this network about this New Age deception. They're deceived. You're not going to be like God from acquiring knowledge.
Exactly.
The only way you can do as Jesus did is through faith upon Jesus. All these things you can do and greater. But
Amen.
Not by saying you are God. And what they have done is
Or
put a spin on it. Yeah. In other words,
try to make
I
it seem
am.
that you can save yourself.
Right. In which
And you're not
case,
saved
then.
by works.
Right. Exactly. And it's a slippery slope, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to try and get, I think you guys would like him there. I don't know if you've heard of Chris White before. He did the David Icke Exposed, and he did his own Zeitgeist Exposed documentaries there of just really great stuff of exposing, in the case especially of David Icke, how what he's promoting is theosophy, is literally like Alice Bailey theosophy from back in the day there, from like 1920s to like 1950s level theosophy there, that he just recycles and rebrands out and is like, kind of gives people a little bit of it, tells them that that's what the bad guys are into, but then takes the rest of it and says that this is the real answer to everything. And it's Luciferianism. I mean, these guys are telling you that they open themselves up to all these different beings and everything. I mean, David Icke talks about how he had an experience once where he saw a depiction of like Jesus on the cross or something, and had like a heinous pain and a horrendous pain and all this. But when he's around all these pagan architecture and all this type of stuff, he feels this connection with the other like spiritual realms and garbage and everything like this. And I mean,
and pyramid power, don't forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
King Solomon and pyramid power and ascended masters.
Well, and that's what I think is so interesting, and why I like a lot more the L.A. Marzulli perspective when it comes to that, of this idea.
LA's great. Yeah, he thinks it was part of a control grid.
Yeah, no, and I agree 100%. I think that it's a lot less benign than many people, and I'm not bashing on somebody like Brian Forrester. I think a lot of the work he's done has been absolutely amazing when it comes to the archaeology work and actually being on the ground there in Peru and Bolivia to help out people like LA with his movies and everything there. That I think it was Watchers 8 or whatever, where they went to Peru. We're actually taking the HD footage there and everything with the elongated skulls and all that type of stuff. And I don't know. I think a lot of people are a lot more positive about this, or optimistic in their outlook, or jaded or whatever in a positive way of their outlook.
Well, if you got Jesus and the spiritual armor on, you know, you can look at this stuff and you can go, "Whoa, this is scary," but it's okay. We're going home soon, so
yeah. Yeah, I'm talking about the people who do the more like it was for good stuff. If it was a level of humans at a higher level, the spiritually and all that type of stuff, I think that's ridiculous. But I do think, in the cases of what people talk about of using harmonic energy and everything like that as a power source, who knows what source it's powering, of what it's doing. I mean, it could be quite malevolent, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be something that's totally malevolent. It can just be literally a power source that is powering an empire that some people are using or whatever like that. But
have you seen any of the shapeshifter stuff or videos?
I haven't seen any of that. Usually, for the most part, I've tried to stay away from a lot of that type of stuff, just to try and get more I don't know, everything from
I think it could be
technology
possible.
Stuff and all that.
I think it could be highly
I think just
possible.
about anything is possible at this point, man. The stuff that I can prove and that I can show people and everything is outrageous enough that to completely discredit anything is...
Well, you could show people an actual video of somebody shapeshifting, right?
Yeah, and most people would be like, oh, that's crazy.
They'd be like, oh, that's just somebody's clever idea with that.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right, nobody would believe it. But, you know, there's a few people I've interviewed who said they were in the presence of somebody in an elevator or in a room, and they literally saw what they really look like. I mean, kind of like, what was that movie with the guy who put the shades? They Live, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and hypothetically with that could also be an area of spiritual discernment rather than them necessarily being a total shapeshifter of seeing through your spiritual discernment the demon or whatever you want to say that resides, or demons that reside within this individual there. That they don't necessarily have to physically be a conscience or conscientious a shape-shifting entity or free shape-shifting entity there or whatever, but so much as you being able to see it through your spiritual armor there.
Right. If you don't have the power of the Holy Spirit, I wouldn't even want to be in the same realm that we're all talking right here. It would not be wise. And that's the only thing that I think that has protected us and is protecting us and shows us discernment and shows us that there's a lot of other things out there that are just so insane that, you know, unless we had that vision, and which, you know, Bible times it talks about they're sucked into it. They have no idea what's going on. So they're just bobbing their heads
let's say,
continuing on.
Hypothetically, let's say we could clean up the oceans from radiation, and we could take the country back in the world from the Illuminati, and we had a lot of people leaving Satanism that were giving us names to arrest these people and give them trials, right? And we printed real money on hemp money paper built on a hemp cannabis economy. How do we deal with the fallen ones and Satan himself? You can't shoot Satan with a shotgun, can you?
It's true.
Although
I have
where
heard
the
people saying with their
spiritual
thing
warfare comes in, you know.
Yeah, and I would say that's definitely true. But as some people is like, I don't know if it's L.A. Marzulli or Steve Quayle there talked about a lot of the weapons of that the so-called Nephilim, and technically they aren't Nephilim; they'd be more like whatever descendant tribes thereof. Because I've read a lot of the Dead Sea Scroll stuff when I got to see that at I believe it was Pacific Science Center. I believe is where they had that there. It was really interesting stuff, but I think a lot of people convolute the terms when they say it. It's actually there are dozens of tribes of Nephilim descended individuals there or whatever, and not all of them are necessarily described as giants. All of them are described as a number of different characteristics and aren't Nephilim. The Rephaim are one particular group, and that actually doesn't even denote giantism. It denotes what, as they say, the term means the dead ones, which thus would imply a form of spiritual death or disunion with humanity.
Hey, Seth, you got a caller. Go ahead, caller. Are we bringing in your other buddy after the break?
Oh, Pete?
Yeah.
We're going to try.
Okay. You got a caller. Go ahead, caller. What's your name and area?
Jim.
Okay.
I got a bad connection.
No, we can hear you.
I can't hear on my end.
Oh, you can't?
We can hear you. You got your headphones plugged in, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, you heard what I just said, didn't you? I said you got your headphones plugged in, and you said you're not sure. So you can obviously hear me.
I can hear, but the sound is low.
Yeah, well, you might want to boost your volume up then on the computer. Next to your clock, there should be a little speaker down in the right-hand corner.
I wanted to find out if you can get the man running for president on your radio show.
There is no election, and what man are you speaking of? The one that was on BK?
No, go to www.americasthirdparty.com.
Okay.
Contact the man's name. The man's name. Hang on. The man's name is David John Sponheim. America with the S at the end of America. America's Third Party. THRIRD.
Hey, can you spell his last name? Spell his...
STONHEIM. Website. Contact him. He will get on your show. He has a YouTube website. He will be live. He's live every Monday through Friday. He takes live callers. He wants to legalize marijuana. He wants to legalize hemp. And you got to get a hold of him, please, if you can. He will get on your radio show.
Cool.
Oh, thank you for the suggestion.
He will be a good guest. He will get on as many times as you need him, and if you could get on his show, Rick and Annie, he can let you know. He will let people know about your show.
Yeah, the problem. Yeah, we would definitely support a third-party candidate, but the thing about somebody like that ever winning, number one, we may go under martial law with the Constitution and elections suspended. Number two, Bilderberg picks who the presidents are going to be years in advance. So the whole thing is rigged. So I don't believe somebody can jump in and get elected. Presidents are selected.
Please contact.
Oh, we will, yeah.
Really interesting. His name is David, first name David.
John Sponheim.
www.americas, after America with a S, americasthirdparty.com. He's on YouTube. If you miss the shows, he records it on YouTube. He broadcasts in several places. He's on Vaughn Live TV. He will be on Vaughn Live TV tonight, and the Blue Raven is helping him.
Oh, cool.
All right, then. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call. We'll look into them.
We love you all out here.
Oh, thanks so much, man. Pass the, shakeandwakeradio.com, the more and more people that we get knowing the truth so they can't be deceived. God bless you. Thank you. What's your first name, by the way?
I'm Billy Bob.
All right, Billy Bob. Thanks for the call, man.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great day.
Right on. Well, on that note, Rick, we about ready to take our first break here? Or only break?
Yeah. All righty.
Right on.
All right, I'll
be back in what, like 5:10?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Waiting on Annie. Yeah, so what's Pete's name again? I'm trying to find him in my list so I can bring him in.
Pete Wickert. Wichert.
Yeah, I've been ready. I'm waiting on you.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
listening to the Shake and Wake Radio Network, where the truth is all that matters, and the truth will make you free.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
ShakeandWakeRadio.com.
How you choose to express yourself, it's all your own, and I can tell it comes naturally. It comes naturally.
Hello and welcome to my new show, To Your Health Naturally. I'm your host, Tina Lane. Together with my co-host, Dr. Mark Severance, we will be discussing natural alternatives and remedies. I have a natural and healing group of over 20,000 members on Facebook, and as a group we share and help all members to find a more natural way to live and to choose more healthy alternatives, be it food or healing. We will have a live call-in and chat, so bring your questions. We will also have a variety of guests. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food.
Hello, I am Dr. Mark Severance. I've been involved in the field of natural medicine for over 20 years. I began my career as a hospital corpsman in the United States Navy in 1981, and then specialized as a physical therapy technician. In 1994, I graduated from Palmer College of Chiropractic, and in 2001, I graduated from the Midwest College of Oriental Medicine. I spent 2 years studying Native American traditional healing with the Ojibwa tribe of northern Wisconsin. I have extensive knowledge and experience in treating disease with nutrition and standard process whole food supplements. I am the author of the book, Mother Nature's Healing Touch Therapies, the remedy for an ailing healthcare system. My blog can be found at www.theearthismymedicine.blogspot.com. I am the owner of Healing Touch Therapies, a natural medicine clinic in Mundelein, Illinois. I'm active in community education and lecture on topics concerning nutrition, vitamins and supplements, vaccines, chiropractic lifestyle, and other health-related issues. I look forward to helping you with your issues and your healthcare concerns.
So join us for To Your Health Naturally, every Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, on the Shake and Wake Radio Network.
We spoil them, we love them, we can't live without them. They're our little knuckleheads and they keep us smiling every day. Hi, I'm pet care coach Elisa Merlin. I've spent the last 30 years of my life caring for my own menagerie of dogs, cats, and birds, along with the pets of some of the most famous people in Hollywood. Now I'm going to share the latest pet health and wellness tips with you every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on my new show, Elisa's Pet House. Come join the fun as I interview guests, cover the latest pet news, and take your calls. That's Elisa's Pet House, Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific Time here on ShakeandWakeRadio.com.
some good talk from some good smoke. While a man came down on me. Yeah. We're gonna take back control. Take it back. Gonna free our soul. Gonna take control. Take it back. Lord, please save my soul. What's it gonna take to make us realize that we're not living free? No. Standing up for your rights, only doing what's right. They'll knock you to your knees. Yeah. What's it gonna take to make you wake up? You gotta fight to stay free. It only takes a spark to set things off. You say you want a revolution, yeah. We're gonna take back control. Take it back. We're gonna free our soul. Gonna take control. Take it back. God, please save my soul.
All right, welcome back to Two Real News with Seth Davis and his guest co-host today, Jason Boss.
Welcome back. Guest co-host today and every day that he possibly can there, as Jason's the man. How you doing, bud?
I'm good, man, but there's only one man, and that's, he's the king that we worship, so
That's true.
I'm only working with the gifts that we've been given.
Well said.
That's right. We
let's
all
start
try
on
to
a-
stay humble.
A news blitz here and keep it running. We've got last few days some pretty nice headlines there, just pretty dystopian. Let's see. There's out of Breitbart, MSNBC. Police lives in danger because of armed law-abiding citizens. I'm like, good. The garbage is flowing from them. Let's see. KHQ.com. Propane tank companies under investigation for shortchanging people of literally a conspiracy to try and jack people for more money by lowering the amount of actual propane in the tanks, to making it from about 20 pounds to about 15 pounds that you're actually paying for. Yeah. Let's see, you guys.
Sounds like Halliburton's in on this or something. Dick
Yeah,
around.
no, and that's
Well,
was it AmeriGas, and I can't remember the other one. Here, let me see. I think it's like Blue Rhino or somebody. Let's see. 1 second. While that's loading up, continuing on, we've got at truthout.org, 68 elephants massacred in Democratic Republic of Congo in past 60 days. I thought that was pretty just insane there, the amount of stuff that they'll put in as far as laws and everything, but because of some of the rebels that these guys will back, nobody seems to give too much of a darn tootin' there. Let's see, what do we got?
Did you hear when
large
they
retail
were...
stores, the nation's top propane tank suppliers were cheating customers, specifically large retail stores like Lowe's and Walmart. In 2008, there's a significant rise in cost of propane, steel, and diesel fuels. To offset that cost, Blue Rhino and AmeriGas did not raise their prices. They increased their profit margin in a different way. Without consumers knowing, they adjusted the volumes they were providing in the 20-pound tanks down to 15 pounds. Classy.
Now, anybody ever do time for this? No. They just got away with another, fleecing the American people.
Oh,
We
should
got
be.
Grubered.
Should be doing time for this. This is ridiculous. We got let's see, continuing on with Arab League to create collective military force. Sound kind of familiar there? American Union, South, whatever you want to say, Asian Union, European Union. They're pretty much going to try through military force to set up their Middle Eastern or Arabic Union here, or sorry, Arab League. What is it? Gerald Celente or somebody would call it the Arab Little League of the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. We've got TheGuardian.com, magnitude 7.7 earthquake strikes off Papua New Guinea. I thought that was kind of interesting. Who knows? Maybe that has to do with CERN there, Jason.
Yeah, well, they're starting to fire back up. You know, the bad news is the good news is they were down for a while. The bad news is they're spinning up now. So, yeah, expect the weirdness to happen
Continuing,
again.
we got Big Brother is here. Facebook reveals its master plan to control all news flow. Not surprised at all. I mean, we've already seen that as far as if you have a news feed or whatever here on Facebook, it'll tell you outright. I mean, you'll have 4 people reached, 5 people reached on certain stories, and other stories you'll have, because it's acceptable to Facebook, they'll have you reach 60 people or 100 people or 200 people or 1,000 people or whatever there. They get to try and control and stifle people's ability to see the news. So anybody that's listening to this and you check out the Two Real News on Facebook or Tina Lane's, any of her groups there or whatever, check out the information itself. Like, click on the page itself to go look through articles and everything, because Facebook is only going to provide your news feed with a certain amount of articles of what they deem you capable or worthy of reading. Essentially just to try and control your reality.
Well, yeah, and Zuckerberg, you know, he's proven, you know, you see the fruits of his labors. I mean, he's definitely in on everybody's thing. You know, he's with all the big ritzy guys. And
yeah, and he calls you a dumb
effort
for trusting him with your information.
Exactly. Yep.
He literally said that.
You know, well, I believe it. He's a pompous, hubris fella. So
it's outrageous. Let's see. Telegraph.uk, deal in doubt as Iran as Iran rules out sending nuclear stocks abroad. I mean, they're playing back and forth here out of the hill again. We've got what is it? O'Malley. Nuclear Iran is greatest man-made threat. Not nuclear power, not anything like that. Just Iran, because of course they're going to, you know, make a bomb, kill everyone. It's not the United States that's let off hundreds of nuclear weapons and weapons testing stuff there. I mean, no. We've got to worry about Iran, and I'm not saying those are good guys. It's just, give me a break. Our own government is more of a threat.
Can you hear?
Oh, hey there, Pete.
Can you hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm having problems with my mic, and I just wanted to make sure you could hear me, bro. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're coming in perfect, man.
I kind of just popped in randomly here, but yeah, I had to make sure you could hear me, bro. I could barely hear
Pete
you.
Wickert of Truth is Stranger Than Fiction is joining us as we start to cover here on CNN the Fort Meade shooting of 2 transgendered guys rolling up at an NSA checkpoint there. NSA was it Fort Meade NSA main gate, and the one of them was shot dead, another wounded. Literally for what they were saying originally out of the news here, of them just trying to enter the gate and then not following the NSA officers' commands there, which regardless of your whatever orientation or anything like this, they still treat you like scum. These officers, I mean, they used to be civil servants. Now they're authorities. Now they're officials. And they'll tell you what to do, and if you miss a single beat with anything there, they'll blow your brains out.
Well said.
Literally.
It's funny though, all the people that have, like, you know, the balls to do something. It has to be transgender people. I'm not, you know, throwing any judgment, but where are the rest of the citizens out there?
Well, and I think, Pete, that some people would throw out that it could be a whatever mind control thing or something there, but it just, I really like the fact that it illustrates that even many of these classes that they're trying to create in society for political correctness purposes, trying to use for political gain.
Come back at them.
Yeah, well, they could really, in reality, it's as Jason and I were talking about there, they could give a damn about many of these people, regardless whether or not you're gay or transgendered or whatever.
Oh, it's no, of course, it's part of actually just population control.
Yeah, and dividing society, of social engineering, of political engineering, of trying to get as much political grist as possible by dividing people into neat little party lines of Republican and Democrat. And it's ridiculous. I mean, these same feds that are killing you, in the case of the DOJ, they have feds charge former agents with Bitcoin money laundering.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That blows my mind. And you know what? That they had more money. The FBI ended up with more Bitcoins than I mean, it was millions and millions of dollars from that whole Silk Road thing.
Imagine.
And then
what's sketchy about them is, like, you know, you don't really even know exactly who's the big guys, the players behind the scenes in Bitcoin. And I think that when I heard that kind of, you know, confirmed my suspicion of ever kind of investing in them.
Well, it blew my mind that the guy was actually from, I believe, California when they actually took him down, and he was just a young guy, and he was sitting on millions and millions of dollars in Bitcoins. And then the FBI got a hold of it, and everybody wondered what were they going to do with it? And they're out there spinning it, and they're setting up more.
Well, it's the same thing as when the DEA guys or CIA guys will bust somebody with a bunch of dope there, and then it suddenly just disappears, or even a local police department.
I could break it down. It's so simple. They are not going to give up the Federal Reserve without infiltrating any alternative currency we try to come up with.
That's true, and that's why it's something of freedom must be taken and must be guarded jealously, as any of these systems that people are trying to create, and even including our own media platform here of what we're trying to do with Two Real News and Truth is Stranger Than Fiction and everything, and Shake and Wake Radio. I mean, people trying to come together and actually set up an outlet, a platform that people can really speak from and that can be real and can actually provide an actual opposing viewpoint to the mainstream media, as opposed to just a slightly different viewpoint than the mainstream media, as many quote-unquote alternative media outlets or independent media outlets are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Going on here, we got out of Infowars.com, Floridians speak out against troops practicing internment of citizens. Let's see, RT, causing genocide to protect us from terror. A report called Body Count has revealed that at least 1.3 million people have lost their lives as a result of the U.S.-led war on terror in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Pakistan.
Wow.
And a report which should have made front-page news across the world. 1.3 million deaths. I'd like people to remember that when they're still waving the flags and have the yellow ribbons up on their cars and stuff, is those deaths are coming back. Those people are coming back to the United States. The troops that they had over there policing those populations and bombing with drones and everything like that, killing all these people as collateral damage, it's coming back on us as a nation, and we're going to have to deal with this.
All I can remember is George Bush, mission accomplished. And from that day forward, I think it was a quagmire. And we're bullies. We are just bullies, and we're in a different place that we shouldn't be, and we're destroying people, we're killing people, 1 million people. That's a lot. I mean, I don't know the stats on Hitler, but I mean, surely that's got to be over
right
what he did.
No. It's about actually, you have millions there during the Second World War and all that, but the Holocaust. Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what I always thought. We were the good guys. I mean, we fought for freedoms and different things.
Well, if you ask the German people, they have a different account, because there's a lot of like carpet bombing and just like innocent citizens murdered by
like Dresden.
Yeah, exactly. Like a city that had no military purpose and great historic value got blown up with a lot of refugees, women and children there for no reason. So even then, we weren't necessarily the good guys. We brought SS officers right back after the war ended.
Definitely. Well, I mean, you have to wake up to all this gradually and everything there. But there does reach a point when it really dawns on you that this hardcore fakey nationalism, this hardcore fakey patriotism that they put out is truly dangerous. It is dangerous because you got to realize the true, what they want to call the true patriots there or whatever, are the people that are going to listen to Obama if he tells them to go hack up their family or whatever, because they're so busy worshiping this idea of what America is in their head and what they've been conditioned to believe it as.
It's exactly like Christianity, Seth.
Well, yeah, no, it's even beyond that, P, is because they deny Christianity, they deny Buddhism, they deny Hindi, they deny Islam, they deny Judaism. It's their government has become their religion.
Stomp on you is the basis of what most preachers preach in a Christian church, and that's what the government preaches to.
Yep. So that's because it's the 501c3. They've taken that. Yep. Yeah, they've taken that straight up with the Romans 10:13 and tried to jam that down people's throats as much as they can.
Dude, did you guys hear about the DHS funded drill that simulated a nuke attack on the U.S.-Mexico border?
Yes, I did.
Yep. Isn't that interesting? Because Joe Biggs covered that, a year ago, about how...
Isn't it interesting to see the lamestream media hit it so late?
Yeah, but he was warning of right in Tijuana, where they're crossing the border. Remember where they have all those government installations? Back when he went there, he said he was worried about an attack there. And that was a year ago. He said he had a source and stuff. Unbelievable. And then also did you hear about the Taliban files? And how they were Obama was going to release them without Bergdahl.
Yeah, well, and the money that's been paid for them too, because wasn't it about $5 billion or some craziness like that?
Unreal.
Yeah, it's outrageous the amount of money that's paid for it. I mean, they tried. I've seen even out of Breitbart, they tried putting out their spin there. How dare Obama release or pardon or whatever criminal drug offenders or whatnot with any of this type of stuff. And in that particular case, I understand that the individuals he's releasing probably have political connections with the FBI or whoever right there and have some political purpose that they can play up. However, ending the drug war, the so-called right wing of the mainstream, or the alternative media, the new media. I mean, Breitbart's not partisan at all. They're not like old school fake conservatives that support the war on drugs, the war on terror, and the war on freedom itself. But they still push that garbage there of anybody of, oh, you dirty dopers and all this stuff. I'm sorry, but the real problem in society isn't any of those people. The real problem in society is many of the people that are fighting the so-called war on any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Continuing on here, we got out of... I was going to say, I thought it was pretty interesting there, Jason. You sent me that. I would just have this written down to cover it. The Monsanto profit falls 15%.
Yeah.
Yay. There's progress.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, and why there is hope with a lot of this stuff is because people being conscientious consumers there of supporting the real. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not a fail-proof there or whatever, fool-proof. But at the same time, there's at least a chance to it. And I mean, and it's showing that they're going to try, because so many of these people are so driven by profit, driven by greed, driven by this lust for money there or whatever, materialism, that they're going to go where the money is. And if the money is not in poisoning people and in providing them with such crappy services, then they're going to have to change. At least some of them are. And I mean, they're going to have to try and figure out new ways to manipulate people into buying their poison stuff. But that's just it. If we keep them on their toes, then it's a battle. If we get lazy and we start just kind of, what do you want to say, atrophying there as a real intellectual, spiritual, as a real physical movement there, then we're not actually going anywhere if we start to atrophy. We're just going to rot away, and they're going to continue with the same old hackneyed tricks that they've done a million times before.
I think it's important that we have to game plan their next move, because, they're going to try to basically adapt and do it even more in a stealth way. So we have to be on our heels and watch it. And even the organic movement, everyone's bragging at how it's a victory. We got to make sure that these products are organic indeed, not just,
Yeah, we discussed that the other day on Harmful Agendas with Tina yesterday. I thought that was a pretty good point there. At a nationalreview.com here, we've got, there's no deterring an apocalyptic nuclear Iran. And of course, that's just absolutely ridiculous. The more the fear-mongering there of, if these guys have it, then instantly it'll be a bomb. It's almost like the pre-programming and scripting there has already come to it, Pete. I mean, it was what you were just discussing of them doing drills at the U.S.-Mexico border there.
Oh, yeah, and honestly, too, there's also, like, Latin American countries that are proposing and pushing to remove all U.S. military bases. And, I mean, it's all coming to a head right now. We got... basically, they're talking about...
Okinawa, they're doing the same thing.
Having secret nuclear weapons. Are you kidding me? North Korea having secret nuclear weapons. That is fantasy land if I've ever heard anything.
Yeah, and even if they did, how are they a bigger threat than the people that have blown up hundreds of them just to see what they're going to do?
And they're saying they got them from Iran. So, first off, I don't even think North Korea would be capable of maintaining them, okay, like if that were the case. Second off, we would have, with our drones across the world, seen the transportation.
Yeah, we are in the information age and the age of spying and everything like that, the age of surveillance. Or if they really wanted to, and they really had evidence of any of this, I guarantee you they'd have been trumpeting it around the media and already thrown it out there. They don't. That's why they're making it
out on. He would be what's his name? Kim Jong. Is it Kim Jong Un?
Kim Jong Un.
He would be out there dancing around, demonstrating this weapon and telling us he's going to blow us up with it. I mean, he's that arrogant. He doesn't. He doesn't have anything.
Ugh. Well, we've got something interesting here, Pete. Here's what President Obama just promised the world in the fight against climate change. Just out of
I know
the good old Mother Jones, which as we all know, there is totally nonpartisan, is totally not like progressive liberal garbage. But while that's loading up, let's see, out of Russia Today, we have pesticides on fruit and vegetables could account for 49% loss in sperm. A Russian study that's pretty interesting there.
That takes like almost half your chance of having kids away.
Yeah, of just eating pesticides. Imagine that. You're eating poison. Let's Let's
Did
see.
you see NASA
This morning, hours
flying saucer?
Yep, to send to Mars there. Let's see. This morning, here we go, just really quickly. Hours ahead of the looming deadline, the United States released its formal submission to the United Nations in preparation for global climate talks that will take place in Paris later this year. Known as an, quote, intended nationally determined contribution. That's nice and ambiguous. This document gives a basic outline for what U.S. negotiators will pony up for an accord that is meant to replace the aging Kyoto protocols and establish a new framework for international collaboration in the fight against climate change. The U.S. submission offered a few surprises and essentially reiterated the carbon emission reduction President Barack Obama first announced in a bilateral deal with China on November 26th to 28% below 2005 levels by 2025.
Wow.
With an aim to reduce carbon emissions by about 30% by 2030.
And China does nothing.
Yeah, and actually that's one thing that this says here is that none of the other members have actually, like the big players in the game, have signed on to any of this stuff yet.
Yeah, unreal.
They probably won't.
We're just basically throwing away everything that our forefathers, our ancestors in this country built up. All the industrial, factories, the companies are all just getting buried.
Yeah, as we discussed before, it's like the rail systems. I mean, we in the United States have thrown away all this time and effort that has gone into building the railways that connect this entire nation, which I understand. Some people will say, oh, but it's part of the system there or whatever. Yeah, it is. It's also part of a grid that keeps industry and business going in this nation.
Yeah, I got rail systems by me, Seth, but they're not taking any cargo.
Yeah, but if you notice, though, Pete, those are the ones that are maintained. The ones that actually transport cargo and would help the infrastructure of the United States here, we don't want to maintain those. Those need to become nature walk routes and whatnot. So that's,
and then they blame the guy driving the train for when it tips over because the track is cracked.
Exactly, and the track is so ill-maintained here in the United States that we have train accidents all the time, as Tina Lane brought up. There are train accidents all the time in Canada as well.
Yeah, it's purposely done, basically, just so that they can scrap it.
Continuing on here, we got Dr. Faked AIDS vaccine research just to get federal money. Vaccine fraud happens more often than you think.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds pretty interesting one. We got Newsweek.com. Chechnya threatens to arm Mexico if U.S. sends weapons to Ukraine. Once again, I got to be honest. The propaganda here is just really. What's the U.S. going to do next? Invade Chechnya? Hit the belly of Russia full force? I mean, come on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, can you believe that garbage?
I can't. I'm in shock, actually. I mean, I've read some crazy news today, but that blows my mind. Who would believe that, Seth?
People that listen to get all their news from mainstream media establishments. I'm sure people that listen to Fox News exclusively, or listen to NPR exclusively, or listen to MSNBC exclusively there. Pretty good example of who'd believe that.
Lost causes, then.
Out of the Independent, we've got Facebook is tracking you even if you log out and ask never to be followed, report claims. Let's see. There's a nice one here from my wonderful home state of Washington. Bellingham, Washington adopts full-day kindergarten with Common Core. Yay! Isn't that awesome? Yeah, starting early. And when they show you the program itself, they're teaching children how to read with pictures at first. So they're teaching them how to read without words. They're to start off of their learning experience. It's literally starting off on the wrong foot with everything in every possible way you can imagine. They're destroying your critical thinking and critical reading ability and your comprehension skills. They're destroying your ability to do math. I mean, math to me, I understand a lot of people that are good at math, but math is a beautiful thing, man. There's a lot of stuff that you could do with it. It's simple. It's easy. It's something that is always, it makes sense. It's objective, and they've totally destroyed any objectivity that people have.
2 + 2 = 5, Seth.
Well, no, technically, Pete, it could equal 3. It could equal 5. It could equal whatever they say it equals.
It could equal 0 in Common Core.
Right, but it's a disaster. You know, Pakistan, I was talking to a buddy of mine in Pakistan. He was explaining to me how he felt really bad because his family from the U.S. came over to Pakistan, and they were lesser educated than some of the fourth graders there. I'm like, okay. And so I homeschool my kids, and so I was interested. So I went over and started looking at some Pakistan curriculum. And I'll be dang. In the first grade, they are learning one language, and they have another one that's right up for the second grade. By the time they're done in fourth grade, they have 4 languages they know. And I'm like, wow, our kids here, they're sitting in timeout chairs. They're sitting in,
our kids here aren't even learning cursive anymore.
No.
Oh, I didn't. I actually did like at first grade, and they stopped because of the computer.
Yeah, I'm one of the few people that's my age that actually can really even write in cursive. It's outrageous.
Hidden language, man. Hidden language.
Hey, Seth, did you hear about the guys in Turkey taking people from the UK hostage?
No, not surprised.
That just makes that flag at O'Hare even more interesting right now.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to get Anthony from True Sentinel on to talk about that. The guy's another resident researcher as myself there, does stuff for Scott, but he lives in Turkey. And there's quite a bit of information on a lot of this, of just somebody that's on the ground living there and everything, as of the local politics of all this type of stuff, of how the PKK and the Kurds tie in, of a lot of the dirty tricks that Turkish intelligence and these guys have been up to.
Do you think that it could be following the money, going back to maybe Rahm Emanuel or something like that? Just
possibly Rahm Emanuel, but I think it's bigger than just him, Pete. I think there are other players in this that might tie in with him somewhere, but I think that it goes way beyond just him. He's a face man, and he's about as close to the power structure as you're ever going to see in a local politician like that, but it's still not quite the same. Going on here.
I'll just bring one thing up because I got to actually head out in about 5 minutes. So
okay,
just about that. It's kind of like in the 70s flying an Iran flag when they held the American hostages.
Yeah.
And that's pretty, just if you think about it at that level, they're our ally, biggest ally, always have been since actually after the war. And you would think that they wouldn't be flying the colors of somebody who are basically using terrorist actions against an ally.
Yeah. Well, that's just it, though, is Saudi Arabia, brother. That's the same thing. Israel has done the same stuff, the United States, too. They've killed U.S. citizens.
Yeah, that's true.
And our government has done not a thing about it. They haven't even tried to sue them. I mean, it's just something as simple as that. They didn't even call it bad. They didn't even decry it. They just, it happens. It's ridiculous. Continuing on here, before you leave there, Pete, we got Yahoo News, and indeed this is some Yahoo News. Arkansas governor sends religion bill back for rewrite.
Oh,
because after pressure from liberal news lobbies and stuff like that, or liberal political lobbies, he's like, I don't know, it could stifle gay rights or whatnot. And I'm like, most of this stuff was passed by like Ted Kennedy and Bill Clinton in the 90s. So not really understanding your whole thing of, it's the evil Republicans trying to pass this. I'm like, a lot of these people are Democrats that are passing it too. So it's just they have to try and twist it and spin it into their own little paradigms there. Here's out of The Observer, before you leave there, Pete. President Obama must not complete a disastrous deal with Iran, because it'll be disastrous.
I'm hearing a lot of people just calling into talk radio, just like, pretty much like they're more angry about that than the NSA spying on everything we do.
Yep. It's outrageous. Well, man, it's the same thing. We have the Saudi defense minister to Congress saying Iran can't be trusted. I'm like, who says you can be trusted? Why would
Sean Stone walked there by himself, okay, and he made it back. It was on my show, so I'm pretty sure that they're not that bad if they let an American just walk straight through and actually sheltered him, gave him food and all that. He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize instead of Barack Obama.
Well, agreed. Of people actually of showing that the individuals on the ground there are not their government, because the Iranian government, like the Revolutionary Guard and whatnot, their paramilitary group or whatever, is pretty evil. They've done some pretty wicked stuff in the region, but the people of Iran, they are just like the people of Yemen. They're just like the people of Iraq. They're just like the people of Ukraine or of America or the UK or whatever. They're people.
I hope,
most of whom are pretty hardworking people that just want to get along in life and not have to be thrown into this world war, that world war, this conflict or that conflict or any of this stuff.
I hope other people across the world, hopefully listening to this, look at us in the same way. Like, the people of America, on average, are great people. We do not. We're not similar to the philosophies of our government whatsoever.
Yeah, and a lot of us aren't even similar to
their actions.
Exactly.
And even our so-called American mainstream media, some people will see this and get the idea that everyone's either believing everything that they're getting out of this, or that they have a similar viewpoint to any of these mainstream media establishments. And that's really only weak-willed people that do. And unfortunately, those same weak-willed people exist in every last nation on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I have the feeling that more people, especially like in Yemen right now, because we're just drone striking them we have been for a long, long time now. They're going to end up hating us. They're going to.
Oh, they already do. They already do.
Worse and worse than they ever have. And they need to realize that it's not you and I or Jason that's hitting the button. And they need to take our philosophy too, and not blame the American people, because they tend to put us in the same category as our government.
Yeah, and that's part of just the way it's portrayed there, and that's what we do a lot of the time with those people. I mean, they dehumanize everybody, and unfortunately, the actions themselves there are quite dehumanizing. I mean, you can roll there if you got to roll there, Pete. But this out of mintpressnews.com, Yemen's Houthis. What's up there?
2:45. I'll stick around.
Okay.
Great joke.
Okay. Yemen's Houthis are no Iran proxy. This Shia militia group shares little more with Iran than its religious identity. They just happen to be Shia Muslims there. But I do think that there are probably some connections here, but not quite as much as you'd think, because I've seen some of these guys decry Iran by the same token there, because Iran tries to play the same nation-building games.
Seth, that's a method, because most people think subconsciously from the brainwashing, Saudi Arabia good, Iran bad. So if you label them down with Iran, basically, now you're talking the people draw this conclusion basically automatically that, Iran, bad people, these guys are bad. It's a way to demonize them.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's kind of strange, because a lot of this, it's like Saudi Arabia is not good, Iran's not good. Both of these are big evil there. However, in one nation, while I don't agree with the Iranian government, there's still a Jewish population and a Christian population that exists with, fairly all right relationships there with the local Muslim population.
Iraq.
Exactly, similar to pre-invasion Iraq.
Yeah. Even after the first Gulf War.
In fact, it's more like, in a lot of cases, imagine that, Syria, before the U.S. attempted overthrows and everything, when you used to have people actually walking around in public without having to worry about drone strikes or suicide bombers or something.
Yeah, think about the fear that puts in you. Like, we as Americans don't actually feel that just because they're not shooting us down yet. They're spying on us. I mean, it's admitted here that we have 30,000, I believe, drones. But they're not shooting us. But imagine the first time an American citizen gets shot with a drone, the paranoia that's going to be in everybody.
Exactly.
Imagine living your life like that.
Sad, man. Sad. Yeah. And it's going to keep happening there. I'd say, I don't know, the Houthis and everything there seem, for the most part, while you can get into the big religious denomination debate there and everything, they're a Yemeni nationalist group, first and foremost, which, while we can talk about the dangers of nationalism or whatever that taken to its extreme, you know what? Those people in Yemen there are for Yemen, and that's good for them. People here in the United States need to be for the United States and need to stop trying to play games with the rest of the world, because it's really none of our business.
Yeah, again, goes back to Smedley Butler, his idea.
War is a racket.
Yeah. And why are we the global police? Like, if that's what they want to do with NATO, why doesn't each country have the exact amount of troops equally?
What do you say there, Jason?
I think we might have lost him again.
I hope not. Hope not. But
I'll try to hang around with you until he starts calling me, Seth. So.
Okay. Jason's going to have to roll here, and Pete's going to have to roll shortly. Thank you both for joining me there. Stay as long as you can.
Going to 3, Seth? I'll stay on till 3.
Okay, sure. Let's see. We've got clashes in Damascus refugee camp after reported arrival of ISIS. find that's pretty interesting too, because of course in many of these cases you're seeing people that are refugees that are being killed by either, in the case of the Saudi Arabian airstrikes or the stuff of ISIS there and everything, that they're attacking the everyday average people of these countries and not military forces or military targets. So I think with a lot of that, we need to remember where these people are coming from that are telling us that we need to be angry at these people and not be angry at these other people, and to try and just control and contrive and just condition you to believe whatever comes out of their mouths whenever it comes out of their mouths. It's ridiculous. And finally, we have Iran nuke talks stumble a day after missing deal headline. And of course, they're trying to play up the fear mongering with that of we're all supposed to be just terrified that at any moment there Iran is going to try and bomb the U.S. or something like that with a nuke. I mean, who knows, Pete? At this point, as you covered there with the military operations they have going down of doing drills of the missing plane of MH370 and all that, how that ties in that we've talked about before. I mean, there's a lot of nuances here that the average listener might not even understand.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing. And that's what we need to just keep our focus on, is getting people educated to recognize these issues.
Heck yeah. Trying to wrap her up here with a quick little report. This is an article I did put up about 2 days ago on the Two Real News there. More Than a Theory, 3 Real Government-Run Conspiracies. We have COINTELPRO and the FBI's assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. We've got FBI poisoning liquor during Prohibition, and we've got U.S. government drug running.
Figures, huh?
Oh, always. Actually, I felt kind of bad picking the drug running one to even cover, as there were so many different things to choose from. The others of the poisoning during Prohibition in the COINTELPRO program, or the COINTELPRO, was a lot easier, because then I could just cover the single subject. I mean, it is pretty succinct. But with the drug running, it became a bit more of a ambiguous topic, and I had to try and keep it as concise as possible, because we're talking all the way back from the Civil War days and pre-Civil War days of the United States government being responsible for most of the opium running in the region. We've got all the way to the days of Smedley Butler and whatnot. We've got to the days of what specifically we're covering here of, at first, the Gary Webb investigation and all that he put out with like Freeway Ricky Ross and all those guys talking about the Contras and everything in Nicaragua and that. But then, of course, I also cover all sorts of...
put 2 and 2 together. Why would they allow us to basically post up our army and do training for like a month and then just randomly invade them if they didn't work with us? You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't let them right in their country and doing, on top of it, doing military drills in front of their face if they really feared them. So that shows right there that they're working together.
Yeah, indeed. And in a more modern context for people to try and understand there, in Afghanistan, you have record U.S. military personnel literally guarding opium plantations.
Joe Biggs,
or poppy plantation.
Poppy, yeah. Joe Biggs on The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction with Pete Wickard has said it numerous times. And if they didn't play ball, their crops got burnt down, and that's what they make a living off of out there. It's a different culture. You can't hate on the farmers for making a living. But,
well, and in some cases also they're actually forced into this, similarly to how in Mexico some of these farmers will be forced to start growing weed, or start growing in Central America, start growing cocaine by the cartels.
To those farmers, when they say, hey, U.S., we're not going to play along, we need this to survive.
They burn it down, or they kill them and then take it from them and give it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to put some closer to home connections there, we've got the CIA agents already having been caught with their pants down, as it were, with connections to Los Zetas and MS-13. We've got the ATF gun walking scandal, Fast and Furious, which is as bad as anything you can imagine there.
And that barely woke the people up either. I mean, come on, right after we Eric Holder got caught with that, they tried turning it around and taking the guns and putting a big push to, basically pass stricter gun laws across the country. I mean, we need to wake up. When our government's giving the guns to Mexico, there's over 100,000 people dead in their war out there, and it is a war between the cartels and everyone, and other cartels and the government.
Yeah, but specifically, I was going to say not even just Mexico as a whole there, even the Mexican government as the Mexican cartels or Central American cartels. That's the important part about
it. Those guns didn't stay in Mexico. They sold them for profit.
Yeah, and the reason that it was even brought up was that many of these guns were being recycled after already having been put through the system, having been confiscated from people during drug arrests and everything like that, and then somehow they end up back on the street again. It's because these guys are taking these guns and putting them back out there.
Or in the case of Tupac Shakur, when he actually shot 2 off-duty police officers, here's a guy that just got out of jail, is always looked at as like this horrible person. He shot 2 police officers, didn't have to do a day in jail because they actually used a gun that was taken, it was in the evidence room, and they took it, and they had to drop the charges.
Yeah, well, I mean, in many of these cases, these guys will plant evidence on you. They'll take stuff from you. They'll use what are called throwdown guns that they'll get from a bust there that they'll hide. It's usually a small weapon that they can have, a semi-auto a lot of the time, and then they'll shoot you with it, dust it for prints or whatever, wipe the prints off, and then just leave it on you.
So it does not get burnt up like they show on, History Channel when they go in the building, they're burning all the marijuana and the cocaine and destroying the...
Yeah, and in some cases they do burn a little bit of it, but it's always a show amount.
Yeah, it's PR, it's propaganda. Yeah. It's, hey, this is what happens, and the rest actually is already on a flight with Tosh Plumlee out, some drunk.
Yeah. Well, Pete, to back it up here, what we're talking about with COINTELPRO, the sort of groups that we're talking about that we're getting messed with is everything from anti-war protesters to women's rights groups, civil rights groups like the NAACP and American Indian Movement, to socialist communists, nationalist groups like the Young Lords or the Movement for a United Ireland, Ku Klux Klan, all these different groups infiltrated. And you know what I mean? You can say there's bad and good about any of them individually, or, I mean, not really so much in the case of the Klan, but, with some of these other groups of what they're doing.
It that way nowadays.
Yeah, but that's kind of why they'd even choose the Klan to put them amongst the ranks of a lot of these other groups like the American Indian Movement or the Civil Rights Movement or women's rights or something like that, or anti-war protesters as being like, you're just as bad as the Klan. I mean, give me a break. But not only do you have Hemingway being harassed by the FBI, you have, let's see what they call, because anybody that they'd already been spying on, they could just label them as communist or communist sympathizers and add them to the roster of COINTELPRO victims. And a lot of this was some blatant racism in a lot of cases, and the FBI was not the only government agency doing this at the time. The NSA, way back in the day there, I mean, granted the NSA wasn't revealed to exist until, what was it, like 2000 or 1996 or something like that?
Yeah, actually, I think was it Benny or was it Matt? No, it was like one guy before Mattson that Burning Bunch blew the whistle on him. I believe it was the late 90s.
Yeah, and still for a while they tried to claim that it didn't. No, it doesn't really exist. It's not really a thing. But they had their own program at the time. Instead of COINTELPRO, they had Project Minaret, which was all about spying on the personal communications of civil rights leaders and then using it to blackmail them. And of course, all these agencies commingled all their stuff. The CIA ran its own program, domestic espionage program, under the name Operation Chaos from 1967 to 1973.
Great name.
Yeah, I mean, it's charming. But we've got civil rights figures like... Oh, dude! Well, just wait, Pete. It'll get there. You'll get to see some of the points of it here of how they really feel about this stuff. Black civil rights figures like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and Huey P. Newton were targeted and subsequently demonized. Many allegations exist that the FBI used COINTELPRO agents in the Nation of Islam to arrange the execution of Malcolm X, and there is more than enough actual evidence that he was targeted, spied on, harassed, threatened, and slandered. In 1999, a Tennessee civil court found that the U.S. government, specifically the FBI, guilty of conspiring to assassinate Martin Luther King Jr. and setting up James Earl Ray as a patsy. This was part of the COINTEL sub-operation. Here's the name of the sub-operation: Black Hate, which specifically targeted King and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which they literally entitled the Ghetto Informant Program.
Oh, wow. And I actually have done a lot of research on that, and my belief is that Jesse Jackson
It's probably one of the snitches that they had there.
And the guy who's a James Earl Ray, he had some connections as well with that program.
Yeah,
it's hard to actually pinpoint exactly because you can't follow like money or anything, but there's some interesting things he does before the assassination, places he goes that are where some other member is in the same place, or there's an agency right there. It's almost certain that.
Well, I mean, with a lot of this stuff, they'd use anybody of everything from prior arrests and everything of wiping your record clean in order to.
Al Sharpton with the
coke.
Well,
exactly, with the coke and stuff like that. They use that to in that case take a legitimate arrest or something like that, wipe your record clean if you play ball with them as like a snitch. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's exactly what they used him for with mafia stuff at the time. That's admitted, that's on record. He's a snitch. And a lot of these people, they'd use your drug addiction, sex addiction, anything like that for blackmail. I mean, they'd make up stuff if they couldn't for blackmail. They'd just anything you could think of. They'd lie to you and tell you that so-and-so is having an affair with your wife or whatever, and provide some falsified evidence to substantiate that claim, and then have you, like, provide you with a gun to go out there and kill this guy.
Yeah.
And they did that stuff all the time. That's why it's no surprise to me that they would use the extremely radicalized Nation of Islam members to kill Malcolm X. Because that's a problem that we don't like to talk about here, Pete, that not a lot of people want to bring up, is the fact of the matter is...
how we could push this up. It's proven that a guy named Amir Muhammad, I believe, was given money by police officers to kill the rapper Notorious B.I.G., and the FBI was following him, and they had a program related to COINTELPRO that targeted rappers, and he wasn't even political, but they feared him because of his popularity, and basically probably they couldn't control him fully, so they murdered him. So they were attacking entertainers, killing entertainers, doing their
because
job.
Anything that could dare possibly, even in its own weird way, lead people or shake people out of this contrived existence that they want to create. And I'm not saying that in his specific case of his music or whatever is doing that, because who knows in his personal life what he's saying, who he's talking to, a lot of that type of stuff, that they would be much more likely to actually fear you over this. And it's something to make you wonder with any of this stuff, is because they're willing to use everything from like honeypots or whatever you want to call them. In the case of in the UK, they had a really big scandal of using police informants or police moles there to literally stage relationships over a period of years, including getting married and having children with political activists or political dissidents that the government had a problem with. And your wife or husband will be spying on you for like the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
I'm almost certain from what Biggs told me and from my own research that she was an informant. Without a doubt.
Something to think about. On that wonderful note there, Pete, looking like we're reaching the end of our show here today. Any other, big news? We got pharmaceuticals kill more teens than illegal drugs in the United States. Let's see, Brazil's beaches now hazardous to human health due to human pollution. Trying to push the religious freedoms versus gay rights type thing. We've got Israel joins Obama and Saudi Arabia's war on Yemen. Secret files reveal Hitler tested V2 rockets on own people. Let's see.
DARPA. Can I add something about that?
Yeah.
Actually? That was actually an accident because they had the wrong trajectory on the rocket, and they didn't actually know how far it could travel, and it was like literally kind of let's shoot this thing up and wherever it lands, collateral damage.
Yeah. Which itself is still telling you how low of a value you have for a human life on this one. If it kills people, it kills people. Who cares, right? Yeah. No, it happens. I'm like, that's true.
It's not like they just pointed a rocket at a town and shot.
Well, there's always nuances with stuff like that. People don't want to bring up because they like to portray the Nazis rather than as a cold, calculating evil. It's more like just an irrational, lunatic type of foaming at the mouth evil. Let's see. Ukraine seeks to sign new gas deal with Russia in mid-April, so that should be interesting as well. And the rise in death sentences worldwide has been linked to security crackdowns. the war on terrorism.
Yeah.
So,
hey, Seth, real quickly, did you hear about these? This is from Business Insider and Russia's new third generation tank.
Oh, wow. No, I hadn't.
Yeah, it's a super, basically, until the tank is actually seen in action, and any claims to blah, 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 so they're saying it could be propaganda, but they're saying Russia's improbable claims it is working on a supersonic transport jet as well.
Wow.
And they actually have a picture, so I don't understand what the claims part is, because it's called the T-14 tank, and it's pretty impressive. And,
Russia has unmanned track running vehicles or whatever, like their own drone tanks, essentially, that have large caliber machine guns on them, along with short range or small explosive munitions.
Dude,
and those are vicious.
This thing is like something. Do you remember Hitler's tanks, the Panthers with the giant? Okay, it's very similar to that, but it's got a high resolution video camera on the front. Wow. All angle active defense. The person, instead of sitting near where the ammunition storage is actually in the front of the tank, fully armored. So even if this thing gets hit, he's still able to fire. It has a target detection range of 5,000 meters.
Wow.
Combat firing rate of 10 to 12 per minute. It shoots...
Dude, that's a lot for a
main
tank.
Gun is a 2A82 125 millimeter. Okay, it could firing in motion, commander's panoramic sight, circular view cameras, heat sensors, active defense system, dynamic defense system, fire aiming and control system, combat C2 navigation system, active counter mine defense, auxiliary power plant. It's got armor strength of 900 millimeters, travel reserve 500 kilometers, 90 kilometers per hour, and 48 tons, and engine can be replaced in a half hour. And this thing has a target range of 7,000 to 8,000 miles. Seth, are you there?
Yes, sir. I was going to say, just think that's who we want to start up a war with.
And one more thing. 4-cycle X-shaped 12-cylinder gas turbine supercharged with immediate air cooling engines and direct fuel injection.
Wow.
7.62 millimeter remote controlled machine gun.
Yep, that's exactly what they have with the drones that they're using as well there. So they have the remote controlled machine guns as well that somebody can be operating in there.
Yeah, so this tells me Russia's preparing for war.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big investment.
To bring up what we were talking about before, is I believe Annie was there just bringing up that Obama's mom was used similarly as a honeypot, kind of like the COINTEL program. And we can't forget that Barack's intellectual father there, Frank Marshall Davis, the famed like communist revolutionary or whatever there, and like pseudo-pornographer, like a creep, pretty much the same exact thing. That at very least his mom
Wayne
was...
Madsen even said when he was here, everyone said he reeked of a snitch on in his neighborhood, and no one wanted to talk to the guy even.
Well, I mean, Pete, he is definitely the enigma in the White House. I want to get people right now, anybody that's listening to this, if you don't have a Facebook, then, too bad. Find somebody that does. Go to Facebook, go to Barack Obama's official Facebook page, and go to, I believe it'll be like pictures of Ann Dunham, or him with Ann Dunham, his mom. And you'll see one with him, his sister, his grandpa, and allegedly his mom right behind him. And you look at it, and you can see the terribleness of the Photoshop of that. Not only is the light hitting her the wrong way, that she's got the blur all around her and it doesn't look right, that the background behind her is actually completely different than the background behind them, but it's been like very cheesily spliced in, and then also the black arm sticking out.
It makes his birth certificate look legitimate.
Yeah, most definitely.
But yeah, buddy, I probably gotta head out. I don't want to leave my friend waiting here. I promise.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you for joining Two Real News. Definitely check out Truth is Stranger Than Fiction with Pete Wickert. Check out Two Real News on the Facebook, Two Real News Twitter at The Two Real News. Check out shakeandwakeradio.com every Wednesday and Sunday for Two Real News, the radio broadcast, and of course Tina's show, Harmful Agendas, every Tuesday there, and To Your Health Naturally on Saturdays with her and Dr. Mark Severance. There's been wonderful broadcast, a lot of information we've covered today. Thank you, sir. We've been jumping around on topics and whatnot there, so I know it wasn't exactly the most thematic type of a show. We definitely jumped
structure
around
wasn't
a lot.
there, but it's all about the substance, people. You know, it's hard to do a radio show, and nothing goes as planned. So as long as we're getting good information out there, that's all that matters.
All these things are connected. You see, they're all interweave into one another, and you know the truth
When it
will
sucks
make
is
you
being
free.
somebody that can see it, because then you try and explain it to somebody, and then of course you're just whatever. You know what I mean? Just trying to find connections where there are no connections. But anybody that's spent even a modicum of time researching a lot of this stuff, you'll find that there are quite a few connections between really everything. There are no coincidences.
Yeah, no, it's very rare if there are.
Right
all
on.
done,
Well, thank you
all
guys.
done by design by the master destroyers.
Indeed, but then we know who wins at the end of the day. We know where we're going, and we know what we stand for, and that's what really matters. But it's been nice talking to you guys, and it's been nice being able to share news with the audience there and everything. God bless you, and stay tuned to shakeandwakeradio.com.
All right, thanks.
Too many people in America fear their government, and the government is being run by too many powerful agencies like the IRS and others. I think it's time the people take the country back through their representative government.
Hey, Mr. Politician, living on that hill, living in that life of luxury, on we the people's bill. Don't have a clue how the other half lives, and that is a shame. It's time to stop the tyranny. You keep pushing through your bills. Going for revolution, going for it now. It's time to save our Constitution while we still got the guns in our hands. And there's a farmer who's starving on their land. Ranchers tries to feed his cattle and sheep on we the people's land. Try and live as a free man. You'll find it is illegal anymore. Time to stop these thugs from stealing what's been got handed down. Going for a revolution. Going for it now. It's time to save our Constitution while we still got the guns in our hands. Now is the time to turn back the clock of the tyranny. For if we don't, then who will do it for ourselves? And how about our children?